Hey everybody, welcome back to the Scentbird Fragrance channel. It's so good to be back here today. My name is Benjamin and I review colognes, perfumes, scents, and all things fragrance related. So let's talk about another fragrance. Before we do, this is a decant from Scentbird. I did pay for this from my own money, but if you do want more, if you go look through Scentbird and you see any fragrances that you want reviewed, and you're a first-time buyer, just use my link. So I do, and you'll get a free fragrance, and I'll get a free fragrance. So that's a fantastic thing, and I'll put that in the description below if you want to check them out. Let's talk about this fragrance, though. What can it do for us? And of course, we're going to talk about, the smell itself, the composition, then the projection longevity, then the complement factor, and then the price, of course. So this fragrance, first off, with what it can do for us, I think that green fragrances have a bad reputation these days. It's because they were really popular back in their day. A lot of them were really rough, really masculine. Some of them were very bold and very potent. So they're connected with the past. They're connected with something that might seem outdated, might seem old. But green fragrances can do a really good job of things. They can be fantastic, very versatile. Again, some people, it's not their thing. It's a little bit more different, even if it's a more simple composition, easier to love fragrance. I do think that this is one of those green fragrances that's one of the ones that's more universally appealing and that's easier to wear, and perhaps more people need to check out. If you don't have a green fragrance in your collection, and if you're into niche fragrances, again, this is a niche fragrance. This isn't a cheap fragrance. I do have plenty of, compliment getter list and top 10 lists for those kinds of things. So today, let's jump into this one. First off, with the smell. For some odd reason, when I first tested this fragrance for the first month or so, when I first got it, for me, it just smelled rather green. It did smell very smooth and very nice and more mass appealing for a green fragrance, but it didn't have complexity to it as much. Perhaps it needed to mature in the bottle to really, form and become what it was meant to be. So as I've come back to it over and over and my nose has gotten used to it, it's much more than just a smooth green fragrance that's a little bit sweet and a tiny bit dry. This fragrance has a lot more going on. So first off, again, the notes are really hard to tell with this fragrance. I did have to go to Fragrantica and look them up. But definitely you can notice that there's some interesting florals in this fragrance. There's this interesting play and balance between jasmine and violet in this fragrance. Violet helps a fragrance have more of an edge, more of a confident vibe. In strong or concentrated amounts, it can smell like petroleum. So it helps a fragrance feel a little bit more aromatic. Then the jasmine here is rather a light and airy jasmine, but it still gives the fragrance a balance. It still gives the fragrance a little bit of sweetness. Again, it's all rather well blended. It does have a little bit of this tantalizing, again, brightness to it. That comes from the white pepper in this fragrance, which I really do like. That white pepper is used really well in this fragrance. Carrot seed is another fragrance that gives this fragrance that could have been mellow. It could have just been another dark green fragrance. It gives it, again, a little bit more of an interesting freshness to this fragrance. This isn't a citrus fragrance. This isn't going to be particularly bright, but it is going to be on the lighter side of things, no doubt about it. I have some sprayed on my hand, and as my skin, as it develops on my skin, in the dry down, you can definitely notice that there's tonka in this fragrance. Now, tonka is similar to vanilla. It's sweet, it's well-rounded, it's soft, not powdery, but it's very soft, very easy to like. It gives a lot of fragrances a universal or mass appealing feel to a fragrance, just like ambergris can. So overall, a rather nice fragrance, a modern green fragrance, more mass appealing, more easy to wear. I think it has a casual vibe, an easygoing vibe, which is rather interesting for a green fragrance. So with the projection longevity, let's jump into that. On my skin, I get around 6 hours. It's not terrible and it's not great by any means. And projection is just fair. It's like elbows length, so it's not terrible, but it's not good either. So it's just an okay performer, but it's rather a subtle fragrance. It's rather a calm fragrance, a green fragrance. So perhaps because, again, a green kind of fragrance is more unique to a lot of people, perhaps this is a really good choice for performance, because it's going to be a little bit more distinctive and people are going to be a little bit more apt to pick it up in the air. So just keep that in mind. I wouldn't spray more than 4 or 5 sprays of this fragrance, even though it does seem like it's light. It really can get noticed, no doubt about it. So with the compliment factor, not a lot of people have given me direct compliments with this fragrance. I'm just going to put that out there. But it has boosted my confidence from time to time, and it has led people to kind of feel like I improved my image. It improves myself. That's a really interesting thing to say, because not a lot of fragrances do that for me. I think that this is one of those fragrances. And that's a really great thing when a fragrance is able to improve the image of you. It doesn't speak before you, it's not too loud, it speaks with you. And this is one of those kinds of fragrances. So with the price, this is a 160-ish, maybe 180-ish kind of fragrance. Regime de Fleurs fragrances often are not particularly discounted, so you might get lucky at a place like Twisted Lily when they have $20 off coupons or discounts from time to time. But overall, this fragrance is more on the expensive side, but not too much. It's not a Creed here. So final score and final thoughts. I do really like how this fragrance smells. I do like it has this well-rounded nature to it. It has almost this dry, a little bit of a spicy nuance to this very fresh, light, kind of flirty green fragrance. I still do stand behind me thinking that this has a similar composition and vibe to Dolce & Gabbana The One. Now, it doesn't smell like Dolce & Gabbana The One by any means, but I do think that it has a similar feel or a similar style of the fragrance. That's a really good thing, and perhaps that was intentional, I'm not sure. But overall, a very nice green modern fragrance if that's the kind of thing you're going for. Now, do I recommend this fragrance? And then we'll get to the score. I do think that this is fantastic for an older gentleman who wants a date fragrance, who really just adores green fragrances. And it's also great for a young man who perhaps wants to get his hands on his first green fragrance and is into niche fragrances and has a little bit of money to burn. It's a fantastic fragrance overall. Overall, very nice, very appealing, and it's really a lot easier to wear than I expected, for sure, no doubt about it. So with my recommendation, I would score this fragrance a solid, I want to give it a 7, but a 6.5. It's a good fragrance, but I just think that it still is not as mass appealing. If you're going for compliments, this is more of a confidence booster. It's not going to get you a lot of compliments outright. And again, for date night situations, it can be a fantastic option for some guys out there. But of course, Dolce & Gabbana The One, La Nuit de l'Homme, Caroline Herrera's CH-Men Privé, and fragrances like that, of course, are just going to blow, other fragrances out of the water and be the best kind of date fragrances out there. So overall, a really nice, interesting offering. If I was to compare it to something that was remotely similar, there's Nikolai's Fig Tea, which is much more expensive and I think much better quality, and but it performs about the same. So, but Nikolai Fig Tea also has a similar feel of being a light, playful green fragrance, but of course that one has fig and is more fruity. Look forward to a review of that fragrance. So this is, again, is a fantastic spring fragrance. Probably, and for a green fragrance, again, one of the best date fragrances. So thank y'all so much for being here today. It's a pleasure to be here, and I really do enjoy making these videos. Please give me a like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell to let me know that you like this content, that you like my reviews, and encourage me to do even more. And again, I will include the link of this scentbird down, or just the link below. And if you're a first-time buyer, you'll get a free fragrance and I'll get a free fragrance if that's something you're interested in. So thank y'all so much for being here today. This has been the Scentbird Fragrance channel, and I'll see y'all next time. Don't forget to wear what you love. Have a good one, and bye.